Princesses, what's up? So today we're going to talk about airbrush foundations and even using traditional foundations as an airbrush foundation. So it's really exciting. What I'm going to go through today is Water Blend, the new water-based foundation that replaces Face and Body, which I love so much, and I already use Face and Body as an airbrush foundation. So we're going to test this bad boy out and see how it looks. We're also going to do a side-by-side comparison to another water-based foundation, which is Kett Cosmetics. And then we're going to do the Temptu AirPod SB formula on one side. And then next to that is the new Hydra Lock from Temptu on the other side, because we need options, right? Yeah. So I'm going to walk you guys first through those, doing split side-by-side comparisons because we're dealing with similar formulas and similar products. So I want to do water-based, and then silicone, and I don't know, what is this new Hydra Lock? Let's find out about it. It's this new improved 24-hour wear, says Temptu, on the skin as a foundation. So we'll talk about the differences with that SB formula by Temptu and the new Hydra Lock, how they all look and wear on the skin, how they perform, and yeah, so let's get into it. Alright, so we have our Temptu Air machine and our SB foundation. I'm going to shake it up, pop that sucker on, give you a pretty face, and I'm going to use the second speed to apply the foundation, and I'm going in strokes, lots of dagger strokes and dot techniques to cover areas that need a little bit more full coverage. And you can see how really glowy this is. Make sure you close that little piece in the back before you pop it back in your kit, because it will spill. This is champagne highlighter. Again, very glowy. This is a very glittery highlighter. And then we're going to do some blush and some dagger techniques again to create a sculpted blush. And then I'm going to switch over to the AirPod Pro using the Temptu contour colors that just match the skin best, since the SB pods don't have contours in them. It's awesome to now have this AirPod Pro to be able to use more versatile contour color shades that will just blend better into the skin. Yes, excellent. Of course, gotta contour that jawline, girl. I ain't as chiseled as I used to be. Do a little bit on the inner of the eye, just to sculpt the eye out a bit better. So you can see the finish of that. It's pretty light, soft, a little glowy. Good to go. Next side, ooh, we got something we got to deal with over here. Popped up this morning. Awesome. The Hydra Lock. We're going to use that in the AirPod Pro. And I noticed it came out real fast, real quick, pretty good coverage. Dot technique to cover that insanely hideous thing that grew on my face. Pretty good coverage. I'm going to switch to a lighter foundation to do a little highlighting. So it's not going to have a shimmer to it, but I'll at least get illumination, get a little lightness. I'm going to hit all my high points with that. Pretty good. Now I'm going to switch over to the SB blush, since the Hydra Lock only has foundation colors. I have to jump into the SB formula to finish off the face here. And so I'm doing a really beautiful glitzy pink blush. Again, some soft dagger technique. And then the same contour color that I used on the other side to finish off this look. Soft dagger technique here, up and around the forehead and jawline. Glorious, so glorious. And yeah, a little on the inner of the eye again to sculpt that area. Yes, excellent. And there we have a finished SB look and Hydra Lock look, both from Temptu. I definitely love the Hydra Lock. I feel like it is exceptionally fast drying. I'm not getting that heavy glow. I don't need to set in between like I do with the SB formula, so it's kind of rivaling. Pretty good. Now we're going to switch over to our traditional airbrush gun using the Water Blend by Makeup Forever. And some water, some clean bottled water to dilute, because you can't just throw it in the gun and go. You have to dilute it a little, get it to skim milk consistency. Again, dagger techniques, dot techniques, all to get a nice even finish on the skin. You notice I'm really having to put a couple more layers just to get a fuller coverage. Now I'm going to highlight, so I'm just using the brush to mix the water and the foundation together to get a smoother consistency. Easier to blend that way. Going in and highlighting with a lighter foundation. I'm using 250 for this. Sexy, yes. And then I'm going to switch to a darker foundation in my Kett collection, mixing that with water just to get it to a nice skim milk consistency. And I'm going to contour with that to give myself a little bit more bronzed look using dagger techniques. These I teach in my workshop very thoroughly. Jawline contour, yes darling. It's making me sexy. So now we are into the Kett foundation on this side. We don't need to add any water to this. It is ready to go. And again, with my stroke techniques, dagger techniques, concealing techniques, get rid of that little sucker there. Dot techniques. There's no circles here, guys. We do not airbrush with circles. I want you to be able to do the full face and really get the foundation even onto the skin. So now we're going into a sun-kissed blush using an oval dot and dagger technique to apply that and get a nice sculpted cheek. Beautiful. I'm going to add that same color onto the water blend side since the water blend does not have foundation, or I'm sorry, blush colors to work with. Now I'm going to contour with the Kett contour called Shadow, which is a nice cool tone. Dagger technique to get a nice taper and a contour around the forehead, of course, because look at that 5 head. And of course the inner of the eye. And then the jawline. Glorious. And just for fun, just going to use a little bit of this Zion metal for a little bit of highlighting on the Kett side. It's very soft, but I do love it as an eyeshadow as well if I want a nice shimmery, soft, smoky eyeshadow. And I love the Kett to be able to use all this product on the eyes as well for eyeshadow because it does dry down. So here's a differential view, covering up my little blemish so you can get a little bit more of a skin textured look. The Kett definitely looks really natural, where the water blend looks a little bit more made up. But of course I'm using a color contour that does not suit my skin tone. It's not a cool tone, so get the right colors. Now that we have gone through the application process of each one and really how I like to build on top of the foundations with multiple colors, whether it's in the same skin range because that might be all I have in that line, or whether that line has an extenuation of blushes, highlights, contours, etc. So Real quick about each one of these, which ones that I really, really love. I love all 4 of them. I think they all perform really, really well. So first we'll talk about the SB formula, because this one's been around and a lot of people know about it. And currently this is what I use real quick on clients that kind of want to play with airbrush, brides, etc. Because it's so fast and it's so easy. I mean, it's this gun, it's cordless and it's easy. I mean, I've already talked about that. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. I'll put a link to that somewhere on the screen and check that out, because it's a fun little review on that product. But so basically, SB formula, silicone based, okay? So when this goes on, it goes on very shiny and very glowy. You can put too much on really quickly, so you definitely need to learn to control your application with this, because it can get carried away and you can end up getting an oil slick on the face, heavy amounts of product. Then when you go to set it with a powder, a lot of people are setting it with a talc powder. Now, I have spoken with Temptu in depth about their product because I needed ultimate performance when I was using this for an editorial campaign. And they specifically said that no talc powder on top of an SB foundation. Okay, so that made a lot of sense to me. It made a lot of sense as to why the product was not performing the way that I needed it to, especially when they were zooming into that face and they were seeing a lot of texture. So they said use a HD setting powder. So I have this awesome by Lunatic Cosmetic Labs, their HD setting powder. I do like this. I obviously love the Makeup Forever Loose HD as well. I can kind of control a little bit better, and it also has less product in it. This has a little bit more ingredients in there to bind it. You can see all those ingredients listed back there. So it's going to perform a little differently and still be very light-handed with your application of powder. I only hit hot spots here, here, right in here, sometimes tip of the nose, chin. I try not to disturb the highlight too much, so I might need to put a little bit close under the eye. That's about it. So SB Performance, it's shiny. You can get too much coverage too fast with it. Slow your roll, back up your gun a little bit, and watch for that high shine, because you might need a powder set in between. You don't need to do more than 1 pass on the skin. I find the coverage to be pretty medium. If you want full coverage, then I would suggest applying a concealer base underneath in those areas that you have trickiness with. But again, if you do that, you're gonna layer, layer, layer and add a lot of product on the skin, and it's gonna look really heavy. So I don't like to really suggest that, but it's an option for people who want extreme full coverage. Next, side by side to that, was the new Hydra Lock, which is the new 24-hour wear foundation from Temptu. And I found this to dry down really fast. I didn't get any kind of high shine sheen with it. And it felt really good. It felt really comfortable. It felt like it definitely will perform, and it will definitely last throughout the day. Hence the 24-hour wear. Now, the only downside is that whatever the formula base is, it is only available in foundation colors right now. So I had to coincide that with the Temptu SB blush and contour, because I can't create that out of this. I only got foundation shades with that. So is that something that might expand into their blushes, highlights, contours? I hope, because I like it, and I definitely think I might add this into my kit. I'm gonna play with it a little bit more and wear it around on some extreme days to really test it out. But so far I like it. So far it looked really beautiful, and it laid really beautiful, and it actually minimized texture on my skin without having to apply heavy primers and all that good stuff. So thumbs up for that. So far I really like that. In comparison to the SB, it might replace my SB. I don't know. So now moving into what I'm wearing right now, which is the water blend on this side, and then the Kett Hydro on this side. So we're dealing with two water-based, true water-based products. So we've already reviewed the water blend foundation, and if you haven't seen my review on that, check that out. I'll put that link somewhere on here, however that works in YouTube land. And yeah, and you can check that out and see just kind of how that product is on its own. But of course we want to kind of push it, test it, and go to the next level. So we're using this now as a foundation. All you need is water to break this down. So you put this into your gun. I did a couple pumps in there, as you saw, and then I add, this is just a little bottle that I put clean water in. So you want filtered water or distilled water. You do not want tap water. You don't want tap water because it's got a lot of contaminants in it. It may not be filtered properly, so you want clean water when you're mixing that in there. So all I do is spritz that in there, mix it around with a little brush, and spray away. Now it goes on, feels very refreshing as it's going on. It smells good because it's got this new improved smell in it, and it feels really great going on. Now it is light, it is very light. I was really having to do a couple passes to kind of get the coverage that I wanted, but I do like a light to medium coverage. Most of my clients, I work them in a light to medium coverage, and it was really pretty. Now again, I'm only dealing with foundation colors. There's no blushes, there's no contours, so I kind of had a little fun with it. Did a lighter tone for my highlight, and then the darkest tone that I have for my kit, which is Y505, I did that as my contour. It might not be as cool as I would like it for my contour because I am a very fair maiden, and fair skin tends to need a really cool undertone for a proper contour, but it worked pretty good. It gave me a nice bronzy look, which is great for right now for the summertime. So I layered those, and that was it. It feels amazing. It doesn't feel like it's going to rub off or come off at all. I feel like I can breathe through it. I don't feel like I have makeup on in comparison to the other side. So let's talk about this side, which is Arquette Hydro. So it's a true water base. True water base means that it will dry down. It's not going to be glowy, gleamy, and what you would imagine a water-based product to be. It's going to dry down onto the skin very quickly too. So I did do, what's great about the Kett, and I have almost probably the whole line in my kit, is I have foundations in the ranges that I love. I have that I use a lot. I have the iridescent metal highlighters. I have blush colors. I have proper contours, which are cool tones, cool undertones. Let me show you what I'm talking about. These are the really great cool undertones, which are really good for my skin tone, and for a variety of people's skin tones. I have metallic colors in there. I have a wide range of blushes. I can mix and mingle them. I have corrector colors in there. So Kett, you know, of course, being an airbrush line, they're prepared with a wide range of products to be able to manipulate those products and get a full face, a full airbrush face. Not stopping and going into blush, powders, cream, contours. I mean, you're disturbing the airbrush foundation when you do that. So I love to show you how to do the full face in airbrush, the full skin process in airbrush, because this is the result you're gonna get. You're gonna get a beautiful, even, blended, ultimately blended result. So over here we did the Kett Hydro, then we did a highlight, we did a blush, we did the proper contouring, all in the cool areas that we wanted it, and then again, just lightly set everything with the HD powder, very lightly. You don't need setting a lot with these water-based products because they dry down onto the skin. Cha-ching! So you don't need heavy powders on top. Don't put a lot of talc powders on top. It's going to break the product down. You're going to disturb the airbrush finish. Right? Makes sense? Makes sense? Okay, so there's that result. Now, comparison to how they feel. I feel this one. I do feel the Hydro. I don't feel the Makeup Forever water blend. So I'm kind of having to bend and take a little bit with that, right? Because downside with the water balloon is I don't have the vast range of cool products. But with this being a true water-based also, it's designed to tack and stick to the skin and last for a long time. So I know feeling the way that this feels, it doesn't feel uncomfortable, it doesn't feel heavy, but it definitely feels like I have makeup on, and I'll know maybe if I'm getting married, maybe if I have an event I'm going to, and it's hot out like it is across the country right now, it's gonna wear really well. So there is the breakdown of those 4 foundations. I really hope you guys like this breakdown. I hope it really helps when you're determining kind of what foundations you want to get in your kit. I love them all, and as an airbrush artist, I'm going to play and experiment with all the foundations in the world to make sure I'm offering the best foundations for my clients and for their skin textures. But really, it's going to be up to you. What you feel like it's going to work for you. If right now you don't want to invest in foundations, then start with your foundations in your kit. If you have silicone based foundations in your kit, then you're going to need a silicone thinner to be able to apply those. You can't just use water with that. So that's another conversation for another time. Check me out. Check out my reviews. I love giving you guys pro reviews to help you find the best pro products for you. Or if you're just a makeup junkie and you just love makeup and you want to get in on it too, then here you go. Here's some great pro information for you. Subscribe. I got a lot of videos coming for you guys. Check me out on my Insta. Check me out on Facebook. And check out my website where I have all my information about my workshops that are coming up across the country, specifically talking about airbrush and how to get you to be a better airbrush artist. All right? Love ya. Toots.